Menagerie Kennedy already with 18 wins on the season, but look at the strikeouts per 7. 10 strikeouts per 7 innings, and Kenzie Brown over 12 strikeouts per 7. Easy to say that we could see a few swings and misses today from these offenses.
You know the name Menagerie Kennedy, the biggest name in softball. You should know the name Kenzie Brown, the All-American in the circle, ready for the game's first pitch, and it is just off the plate for ball 1. Brown, the Big 12 Pitcher of the Week for a third time, winning the last 2 awards.
Just saw a little bit of what you're going to see from Kenzie Brown. High velocity, high 60s into the low 70s, and she's going to work all 4 quadrants of the strike zone against these batters today. Going to see her use that rise ball right at the top of the zone. Works into drop ball, will work both sides of the plate too, inside and outside to both lefties and right-handed batters. And that changeup to me is another pitch that's an equalizer for her when batters start to get on time with that high velocity. If you can get them to think about that off-speed pitch, that's another reason why you're going to see those strikeouts start to rack up for Kenzie Brown.
I think they had a little communication issue, so Samantha Swan, the catcher, got it taken care of at the dugout. 2-0 the count to Maya Davis, leading things off for Texas Tech. And there's a strike, and it's 2-1.
First look at that changeup that you're going to see from her, and you can see how confident she is in that pitch, throwing it in a 2-0 count. We did talk about the pitchers a lot, but I can tell you one thing, too. There are a lot of great hitters that we're going to see on both sides. Caitlin Terry for Texas Tech currently on that 36-game hit streak, on base streak, excuse me.
Tech is a team hitting .397, good for second in Division I. They have ripped 109 home runs, and here's a table setter for the Red Raiders, who's got a lot of speed. She gets on, threat to steal with 33 stolen bases on the year. Ahead of the count, 3-1, and Maya Davis is aboard to start things here in the first for Tech.
It's going to be crucial here for Kenzie Brown to try to limit those free passes against this Texas Tech offense, because you want to make sure that you're not in a spot where you're forced to have to throw the ball over the middle of the plate, because these are hitters that can do damage. Likes to throw that rise ball up over 40% of the time. That screwball, drop ball combination in there as well.
Starts with strike 1 to Caitlin Terry. Outstanding two-way player, 5th in the country and hitting at .520 on the season. We will see Terry pitch this weekend. Certainly, she's had success pitching in this ballpark back in her UCLA days. Brown ahead in the count, 0-2. Texas Tech in the final 3 games of 11 straights away from Lubbock. Had a double-header sweep at UTEP in the midweek. Ground ball too short. Stepping on the bag, throwing on to first, not in time. Good speed by Terry to get down the line as Ulrich tried to turn it herself, 1 down. Here's Mia Williams. Williams in her first year with Texas Tech after transferring over from Florida. .443 with a team-high 17 home runs. Ball 1. Madison, I see all these numbers. .397 hitting, 109 home runs, 107 stolen bases. You see what Williams is doing in the 3-hole. This is a team that's 44-4, and talking with head coach Jerry Glasgow today, I almost had the feeling the record was 4-44 instead of 44-4. Swing and a miss by Williams, 1-1.
There's no doubt that he has a lot of high expectations for these players, and when you just look at their individual numbers, you can see exactly why. Coach Jerry Glasgow sees the potential that this team has every single day in practice, and it started all the way back in fall. And when you look at these individual numbers, no, those are not typos. Caitlin Terry is batting over 500.
Well, the thing I took away from talking to Jerry today at length, and I think the biggest takeaway is he thinks this team could win it all. They could win the national championship. They played, of course, in the Champ Series last year. And he fears they also could get knocked out in the regionals because of the inconsistency that they've been trying to fight through in these last couple of weeks.
And I feel like the inconsistency that he sees from his team are when you look at those losses for a team that has such tremendous offensive power on a regular basis. 3 of their 4 losses, they were shut out in those losses.
2-2 to Williams. Swing and a miss. There goes the runner. Good throw in time. as Samantha Swan throws out Terry to retire the side. So Kenzie Brown gets the strikeout, gets the help from her battery mate. You will see the red-hot Samantha.
Most last second of all last-second changes. We have learned that we make sure to have our pencils handy when Coach Jerry Glasgow is putting together that scorecard and that lineup. You can see with Caitlin Terry, too, she's another pitcher that's going to throw very hard with the high 60s in the velocity, but she's also going to rack up the strikeouts, too, and you're already seeing the versatility that she brings over to this Texas Tech team this year. Batting, attempted to steal a base, and now she's out there in the circle.
With that 18-1 record as she makes her 19th start of the season and her 24th appearance. So in all seriousness, Jerry said he might make a decision at the last second to change pitcher. He did, fouled off by Tanya Windle, 2-1. But we will see Nyjah, we will see Terry. We could see them switch back and forth at times. I think what we've come to expect from Jerry Glasgow is the unexpected.
Yes, and I think the entire nation learned that last season at the Women's College World Series.
Ground ball too short. Tony there on the first. Windle is retired. Out number 1 here in the first for the Sun Devils. Hitting .329 on the season, good for 5th in the Big 12. They have some pop. 79 home runs is good for 2nd in the conference. Windle Pond, Samantha Swan hitting 3rd. She's got a 14-game hitting streak. Shep Chester, Mejia, Ulrich, Avila, and Ho Ching out there for Megan Bartlett. Ball 1 to Kaylee Pond, 6th-year grad student, center fielder at .346 on the season. 2-0. I think one thing that may have influenced Glasgow's last-second decision, we did the research because Caitlin Terry pitched for UCLA here against Arizona State when the two programs were in the Pac-12, and she had unbelievable success pitching in this ballpark as a freshman.
She ended up going 3 complete games in a row against Arizona State here in Tempe. Through all 7 innings in all 3 of those games in the regular season series, got the win in all 3 games. And then Pac-12 tournament was the very next week. She played Arizona State, started that game, and ended up throwing a 1-hit complete game shutout. So that's 4 games in a row, 4 wins in a row, and 4 complete games in a row that Caitlin Terry had against Arizona State back in 2024.
So she likes this ballpark.
I guess you could say so.
Farrington Stadium has been good to her. She gets the strikeout, retiring Pond, 2 down. Here is the leading hitter for this Arizona State team. Incredibly consistent, Samantha Swan. As I mentioned, a 14-game hitting streak. In that 14-game hitting streak, she's had 11 multi-hit games. That's how hot she's been at the plate. Takes ball 1.
And the first right-handed batter that Caitlin Terry is going to face in this lineup, both Windle and Pond both being lefties. Now Samantha Swan going to change things up a little bit, coming from the right side. You can see her numbers on the year, batting well over 400 this season.
Fly ball to the center fielder. Davis under it, and she's got it. 1-2-3 inning for Caitlin Terry. Jerry Glasgow is a genius. Start there.
There could be more change.
Of the Sun, game 1 of 3 in the penultimate weekend of the Big 12 season. One more weekend to go. And then it's on to Oklahoma City for the top 8 teams and the Big 12 tournament. Kenzie Brown ready to work to 4, 5, and 6 for Texas Tech as Jackie Liss leads off for the Red Raiders. Take strike 1. Liss at .465, that's second on the team. 15 home runs is second on the team. Senior from Newburgh, Indiana, who played at Southern Illinois before joining this all-star team in Lubbock is the second.
It's a really nice swing by Jackie Liss for her 9th double so far this season. Kenzie Brown comes back with a pitch that's, again, up at the top of the zone, so you got to figure out how can you get your barrel level with some of these pitches, and she gets barrel behind the ball and drives it straight off the wall down in right field. A great play by Yazzie Avila to get that ball into second base, just not in time. A great read by Jackie Liss, too, sliding in there just before that tag was applied.
It was played really well by Avila. As Maddie mentioned, off the wall, the throw was a good one, and it was this close.
Just by the foot probably just beat the tag.
Liz slid late, too, so you got to be careful. They're popping up out of there and the foot leaving the bag, but it looked like she kept it on there the whole time.
And it's a good read by her, too, because as she's running down to first base, she has her eyes on the right field line the entire time, so she can see exactly where that ball is, and she decides to take a chance and make it over into scoring position. Brooklyn Ulrich, too, playing shortstop for Arizona State, was kind of on the backside of second base, too. I wonder if that allowed her to get in just before the tag as well.
Fouled off by Lauren Allred, number 5 hitter. She's down to the count 1-2. 364 on the season for the red shirt junior from Texarkana, Texas. Came over from Louisiana with Jerry Glasgow when he took the Texas Tech job. Jerry works with the hitters, works passionately with the hitters, and he can be passionate if he wants to get a point across on something he sees for his hitters.
I think we would have been still down there on the field chatting, hitting, if the game time didn't get in the way, you know?
No one loves talking hitting more than you, except for maybe Jerry Glasgow.
I think Coach
and I had to
Glasgow's got me
remind
beat.
both of you, we had a 6:02 first pitch. We did not want to delay first pitch because you two were deep in the weeds talking hitting.
I'm always looking to learn something new.
And he's happy to teach something new, that's for sure. 1-2. Gets by the catcher. Liss will move on to third on the wild pitch.
That's one of the things, too, that you're going to notice with this Texas Tech offense as you're seeing them take advantage here of a ball that goes right through Samantha Swan. It almost kicked off of her shin guard, the inside of her left leg, before it got back to the backstop, allowing Liss to move over to third base.
Two-two. Brown gets the strikeout. That's number 202 on the season for Kenzie Brown, 5th in Division I.
Saw a little bit of emotion from her after the strikeout, too. She goes back upstairs with that rise ball, and it's even tougher against these left-handed batters because she gets that arm side run on that rise ball going up and away from those lefty bats for strikeout number 2.
Here's Taylor Panel. Fouls it off for strike 1.
Going back to the hitting really quickly, Eric, just one thing you're going to notice from all of these batters in this Texas Tech lineup is nobody's going to have a cookie cutter swing. Everybody has a little bit something different. Maybe their timing mechanism is a bit different, or maybe their stride foot is different, but you're going to see a lot of variations in swings and timing top to bottom in this Texas Tech lineup.
Jerry Glasgow leaving the third base coach's box.
It looked like Kenzie Brown called time as she's working her way over to that third base dugout.
He's bringing everybody together. Meanwhile, Brown is getting some work.
Looks like a screwball that she worked in on the hands of Taylor Panel and looks immediately to her right hand or her right fingers. I'm not sure exactly which one, but then she calls timeout and starts to walk over towards the third base dugout.
Try to take a look at that pitching hand. Maybe little cracked nail, perhaps. Line drive, hooking foul. And it's 0-2 to Panel.
Definitely something that we're going to keep an eye on as this game goes on. She came back with a changeup on that next pitch. She gets such great spin on all of her pitches, too, moving in different directions. Going to see a lot of that rise ball. You have to get underneath that rise ball to get that spin, to get that pitch to move up in the zone.
Gets a strikeout, another fist pump. Third K for Brown, 2 down.
some really late jump on this rise ball too. That's why it can be so deceptive as a batter, because out of the hand, it looks like it's going to be a pitch that's going to stay right about belly button high. And by the time you decide to swing, that's when that pitch, it jumps up and out of the zone, and you're swinging about 6 inches underneath that pitch.
Talked about the All-American matchup in the circle. We haven't seen Kennedy yet, but Kenzie Brown up for the challenge so far. Gave up the double to Liss. She's on third, but back-to-back strikeouts. Allred and Panel, and now it's up to Desiree Spearman for Texas Tech with 2 down in the second. Spearman at 364 on the season. Takes the ball, it's 1-1. Desiree had a homecoming to El Paso in the midweek doubleheader and had a happy homecoming. 3 for 4, a couple of home runs. A couple of wins for Texas Tech. There's a strike, it's 1-2. 16-0 and 11-1. 7 total home runs for Texas Tech, led by Spearman with the 2. Brown trying to get out of the jam here in the second with the 1-2. Popped up, out of play. We'll do the 1-2 again.
You're noticing, too, after really the first batter that Kenzie Brown faced, after she ended up walking Maya Davis, a lot of these batters are getting behind in the count, 0-2, 1-2. And what that does, and the advantage it gives Kenzie Brown, is now all of a sudden you've got these hitters on the defense mode. Now they start to expand the zone. They start swinging at pitches outside of the strike zone.
Another 1-2. Another foul ball by Spearman.
Spearman here in battle mode. I think those last 2 pitches probably would have been called balls back behind the plate, but because you're thinking about the movement up in the zone that she has, you go ahead and take a chance and take a hack at those pitches, foul it off to see if you can get another one.
Another 1-2 from Brown. Another good job at the plate by Spearman to stay alive. Kenzie, the 5th-year senior from Lake City, Illinois. One of the highlights this season came early in the season when she had 13 strikeouts against Oklahoma. A USL Golden Ticket Award winner, 7th to receive a golden ticket. Speaking of 7s, here's the 7th pitch of the at-bat. Spearman lays off.
Good take on that pitch, too. You can see Samantha Swan even back behind the plate nodding. She likes that location of the pitch. When Desiree Spearman is showing you that she's going to expand out of the zone, you keep on climbing the ladder with that rise ball. I'm wondering if we might see an off-speed pitch coming in here soon.
Count runs full, 3-2 as she went to the rise ball.
Goes back with another one of those rise balls at the top of the zone. Another good take by Desiree Spearman.
Ninth pitch to the at-bat. Spearman waited on it, got contact, and fouled it off.
There's that changeup on the full count. Again, just goes to show you how much confidence she has in the off-speed pitch. But after that swing by Spearman, I'd imagine she's probably not going to go back-to-back here. She might come back with another one of those rise balls or even curve balls away.
Nyjah is hitting tonight on deck. Spearman has fouled off 4 Brown pitches, making her work here with 2 down in the second. 10th pitch of the at-bat. We'll need an 11th.
Desiree Spearman knows a little bit about the pitching side of the game, too, being a two-way player herself.
Another 3-2. Fly ball to center field. Kaylee Pond under it. And Brown wins the battle with Spearman. Liss stranded at third. We've played number 1 Oklahoma taking on 11th ranked Georgia tonight, and Oklahoma's Kendall Wells has done it again. Number 35 for the freshman. As a team, they have 4 home runs tonight. They continue to add to a new team record in a single season, and Wells keeps adding to her freshman record. 35 jacks for Kendall Wells.
You know, I start to wonder how many more records can Oklahoma and Kendall Wells break, but they seem to continue. Yep, there she just continues to climb on up that list, trying to catch Lauren Espinoza, who currently leads the single season home run record at 37. Carly Spade playing at Miami, Ohio, right behind her, and then Kendall Wells just in her freshman year. And you know, you were mentioning the game that Kenzie Brown had against Oklahoma back at the beginning of the year where she had 13 strikeouts. I'll give you one guess as to which Oklahoma batter hit a home run in that game.
Can you make a multiple choice? If you make the choices Kendall Wells, and Kendall Wells, pop up. Backing up is Mia Williams, who has it to retire Emily Shep, one down here in the second. NWSL Sunday, Angel City hosting Portland in LA. Coverage will start at 6 Eastern time. You can also catch it on ESPN Deportes and the ESPN app. Here's some power for Arizona State as Katie Chester takes strike one. 17 home runs for Chester, 57 runs batted in, coming off a really good series against Houston when she went 5 for 10, 2 home runs and a team-high 9 RBI. Fouls it off, 0-2 the count to Chester. Mizzou transfer, didn't play a season ago as she was coming back from ankle surgery. A little late swing on that one. Terry gets her second strikeout, 2 down in the second.
We had a chance to talk to head coach Megan Bartlett just about this series, and I got the feeling, Eric, that all of us were equally as excited about this series as she was. She was fired up for this series. Really, she was talking about how it's going to have the super regional feel to it.
It's an easy inning, 7 pitches for Caitlin Terry as Spearman's got it in left, scoreless after 2 in Tempe.
So many fans just wanting to catch a glimpse of her pitching in the bullpen, and just the role model that she is for young athletes all across the country. I think I have a whole new level of appreciation now that I have children of my own, and when they watch athletes like Nigeri Kennedy and Kenzie Brown, and watching my kids try to pitch the way that they do and try to act and play and do everything the way that their role models are, it's really cool just to see the exposure and the growth of the sport across the country.
Inside to Nyjah, 2-0 as she leads off here in the third.
And because I know you're wondering, yes, both of my kids are working on the rise balls at 6 and 5 years old.
Because they know how to get mom out.
Yeah, because they know mom would swing at them.
Mom cannot lay off the rise ball. 2-0 pitch from Kenzie Brown. All Americans going against each other, and it's 3-0. Jerry Glasgow said he's letting Nyjah hit a little bit more lately. And as we get closer to the postseason, she comes in at 242, just 1 home run, 10 RBI. It was a long season in 2025 for Nyjah and for this Texas Tech team. It's 4-pitch walk, and she's aboard to lead things off, lead off on all 3 innings for Texas Tech. Probably going to run for Kennedy here, I would think. Logan Holloman will come on to run for Kennedy. Remember last year she was battling a hamstring problem. She had a blister issue. She was fighting through that in the season. Just found a way to fight through it all in the postseason. She was so dominant in the Big 12 Tournament Championship game in Oklahoma City and carried that through College World Series.
Yeah, that pitching performance that she had in the Big 12 Tournament going up against Arizona was one of the most dominant, if not the most dominant pitching performance that I have ever seen, and especially because she had just pitched against Arizona not too many weeks prior against them in the regular season series, and she went out there and she was dominating with the rise ball, dominating with the changeup, and like you said, Eric, just continued to carry that same performance through regionals, through super regionals, and then all the way to that championship series.
Hit and run going as the runner Holloman was off, and it's fouled off by Haley Toney for strike 1.
Coach Jerry Glasgow said that Nyjah's coming into the season feeling healthy. That was one of the first things that he talked about.
The 1-1 from Kenzie Brown. Bunt out in front. Brown fields it, throws over to first. Sacrifice successful as Holloman moves on to second. One away. They'll bring up Maya Davis, who walked her first time.
I'll be interested to see what she does in this at-bat. The first at-bat, she actually walked through the batter's box almost as if she were going to slap. Standing in and swinging away. She's one of the players, too, talking to Coach Jerry Glasgow, who, when she started her career at Louisiana with Coach Glasgow, she was just slapping. She was slapping and she was bunting, and throughout her career, she has really developed on the power swing side of her game. So now this year, you're seeing her mostly swing away and occasionally drop down one of those bunts to get on base.
Tap back to the pitcher. Brown to first to retire Davis. On to third goes Holloman. 2 down for Caitlin Terry. You've noticed Caitlin making an adjustment at the plate.
Yeah, it's a pretty drastic adjustment from her stance from last season to this season. Last season, more of a traditional stance. You can see her front foot is more closed. This year, her front foot completely open. The front of her body is practically facing the pitcher that's out there in the circle. One of the things Coach Glasgow talked to Caitlin Terry about was that he wanted to try to get her to be more of an explosive hitter and more of a powerful hitter, and for her to see herself as that powerful hitter. He said she was doing a great job in the offseason coming into the year, and then she kind of went back to driving the ball in the gaps, trying to get those singles, and then has really embraced that power hitter mentality as of late.
Big rip looking for her 10th home run. Couldn't get it. Swing and a miss. It's 1-1.
Really just took a reminder to use her legs, use her lower half in her swing, because she has that explosive athletic power within her swing.
But it's such a unique stance. Her right foot is parallel with her left foot, with the right toe pointing at the pitcher as well.
In talking to him too, he said it kind of started with a drill that they do to try to engage their lower half, use your legs, and you see in the first 22 games of the year, just 1 home run, 8 home runs in the last 25 games. So just an explosion of offensive power.
Check swing, foul ball.
Now, he did say he was afraid to say anything at first because she was batting 500. So he's like,
you want to really tinker with that?
Yeah, how much do we want to mess around with this swing? But she embraced that, and one of the moments that he specifically talked about and her realizing how much power she had in her swing was going out there and hitting off of Coach Glasgow and just hitting the balls over the fence, home run after home run during practice. And he said that he wanted her to go beyond the field and pick up the home run balls and put them into a bucket, because he wanted her to physically see how many balls that she could hit out of the ballpark. And finally, he saw the balls flipping back over the fence. He said, no, put them in the bucket. She said, I've already filled up the bucket.
The bucket's full.
The bucket is full. So much power in her swing and in what she provides to this Texas Tech team, not just offensively, but in the pitcher's circle, too. That stance, too, has gotten even wider as the season has gone on.
Slapped, foul. I can see that stance for a slapper maybe, because it almost feels like, well, that right leg is already moving down towards the line a little bit, but you're talking about a player who's got some power that you've talked about.
And when you watch her load up, you see her load up her weight and her energy into her back leg, which is going to be her left leg. And it's going to stay on the inside of that back leg. That's how she's able to get all that power to go back towards the pitcher.
Kenzie Brown took a couple of steps towards the Arizona State dugout. She thought she had strike 3, but home plate umpire Dustin Douglas thought otherwise.
Taking another look at this pitch here. Ooh, pretty close. Nice job by Samantha Swan back there to frame up that pitch low in the zone. I think it might have caught the bottom part of the zone.
This one taken for strike 3. 4th strikeout for Kenzie Brown. And once again, a runner stranded at third by Brown. Saw Kenny Dillingham, the Arizona State head football coach, walking around posing for pictures with fans. Oh, I think we got eyes on Kenny. There he is, supporting the softball team tonight.
Arizona State's had a couple of draft picks.
You are my draft.
So
you are
far.
you are the Mel Kiper Jr. of this broadcast.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I do know that David Bailey was selected 2nd overall to the New York Jets from Texas Tech.
Brooklyn Ulrich goes down on strikes. Caitlin Terry gets her 3rd strikeout.
Here's David Bailey. Jordan Tyson, congratulations to all of those athletes, too, that are being selected.
Texas Tech and Arizona State. Kenny, I tell you what, he is a very patient guy because he's been posing for photos. There's been a couple of fans who have struggled to get the selfie set, and he's just been patient. Good to see him out here tonight. Gorgeous night for this matchup between Texas Tech, number 5 team in the country, and Arizona State, receiving votes in the top, just outside the top 25 of the USA Softball ESPN.com poll. 2-0 the count to the number 8 hitter, Yazi Avila, junior at .333 on the season. 4 for 7 in the Houston series. Takes a strike, and it's 2-1. Arizona State can score, 2nd in the Big 12 to Texas Tech in total runs, good for 12th in the country. Off the plate for a ball, 3-1 to the number 8 hitter.
There's an aggressiveness in which I feel like Arizona State swings the bat. And when you're going up against Caitlin Terry and you have as many lefties in the lineup as Arizona State has, you really have to try to force yourself to let that ball travel, let that curveball get in deep. Oftentimes, if you're facing somebody that has that curveball, that lefty curveball moving away from the lefties, you can be tempted to almost get around it and try to pull it down the right field line, but you almost have to think opposite field gap. Drive that ball into the left center gap just to give that ball another second or two to travel into your barrel.
Ball 4, and it's a 1-out walk. First base runner of the night for Arizona State against Caitlin Terry. Tiade Ho Ching, the number 9 hitter, will step in with 1 down. Grounded foul, wide of 3rd by the sophomore second baseman at .257 on the season.
And now with the righties going up against the lefty, you almost have to think the opposite direction because that ball's going to curve into your barrel just a little bit quicker. It's going to feel like it's getting in on your hands faster than maybe the radar gun is going to show. So you have to get that barrel out in front of you trying to drive those curveballs into left field.
Ground ball, backhanded by the shortstop. Tony, long throw. And they said the first baseman, List, got the foot down on the bag in time. Call made by Keith Carney at first. 2 down.
This is a really nice play by Haley Tony over at shortstop, and she makes this play look easy, and I like the awareness, too, that she doesn't even try to look at second base because that ground ball pulled her into the 5-6 hole, so she knew she wasn't going to have a play there, goes ahead and fires it across the diamond over to first base to get out number 2.
Back to the top of the order for Tanya Wendell. Well, Ho Ching was just at the plate. She missed time after getting beamed against Northwestern. Wendell missed 21 games from late February to the first week of April. There's a foul ball. It's been a theme for Arizona State. They have not really had their full roster available since the first week of the season.
And they've had to have people playing in new defensive positions that maybe they've never played before. Take Emily Shep, who's batting in the 4th spot today. She spent her entire career being a catcher, and now she's over there playing third base, so had to learn a new position while in the middle of season. And also, you're still trying to win games, so there's no real runway to try to practice those things. You almost just get thrown right into the fire, so you're navigating your way through the season, dealing with injuries, and having people step up in different roles. Kaylee Pond, who's now batting in the 2 spot, was somebody that Coach Bartlett said really stepped up for this team when she needed her batting in the leadoff spot, while Tanya Wendell was not available in the lineup. So Coach Bartlett did say there are a lot of great stories with that, but she would love to see her entire team healthy.
2-2 the count to Wendell, grounded to short her first time. Terry comes inside and misses. The count is full. Avila at second with 2 down, scoreless here in the bottom of the third with Pond on deck. Ground ball to second. Williams the flip to Liss to retire the side. We have played 3 here.
Some adjustments with Caitlin Terry.
Ooh, she's probably cruising. I wouldn't be surprised 70 plus tonight. Moving the ball really well. We are going to have to hunt the ball down, keep our hands above it. Kind of what we talked about. It sounds so super simple, when the coaches say it, and certainly a bit more difficult when the girls are in the box. So,
Megan,
just got to keep working.
I would love for you to have the headset on all half inning, but you got to get to work. Thanks for your time.
Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
They were playing without Megan wrapping up her interview, so it was very nice of her to continue along with us. And meanwhile, Kenzie Brown retired Mia Williams for the first out of the fourth.
Now we talk about adjustments and what batters need to do against pitchers, and you can talk about it and game plan for it all week long heading into a series like this one. But it's a whole other side of the game to go out there and execute it. And there's a reason why players like Kenzie Brown and Caitlin Terry and Nigeri Kennedy have the strikeout numbers that they do, because they get you to swing and miss at pitches that you think you're going to crush. It's that art of deception. That's what it comes down to with pitching, trying to get batters off time enough to get them to miss hit.
Liss with the ground ball. Ho Ching on the first. Quickly 2 down here in the fourth. Well, we talked about at the very top. You know the name Nigeri Kennedy. You should by now know the name of Caitlin Terry after how she played for UCLA and what she's done for Texas Tech this year. But if you don't know the name Kenzie Brown, you should. 19 wins a year ago, All-American, 289 strikeouts, good for 4th in Division I, and she's over 200 again this year. She has been the ace of this Arizona State staff, and she is keeping Texas Tech in check as we play here in the fourth. One on the count to Lauren Allred, who struck out back in the second. 4 strikeouts for Brown tonight. That misses for a ball. Brown had a great bounce-back season last year with those 19 wins. 174 innings of work after didn't pitch at all in 24 due to an injury. She's been battling through some things this year, too. Missed a couple of weeks. Seems to be the theme for this Arizona State team.
Ended up missing that Utah series. I want to say she maybe came in and threw for a couple of innings in Game 3 of that series against Utah, but did not throw in Game 1 or Game 2. And that was really, in my mind, a crucial series for Arizona State when you just look at where they are in the standings. Ended up getting swept by Utah just a few weeks ago.
Allred is hit by a pitch, so she's aboard with 2 down here in the fourth.
Looked like Kenzie Brown trying to work inside with this rise ball again, and this one just gets away a bit too far. Looked like that pitch was in that batter's box, got Lauren Allred right on the elbow guard on the right arm. Looks to be okay as she's down at first base. What a time for Taylor Panel to come through with her 7th home run of the season. This was a scoreless game up until this at-bat, going up against one of the toughest pitchers in the country. This is one of those changeups. This is a pitch that ends up hanging a little bit higher up in the zone near the letters, but the adjustment that Taylor Panel is able to make on this changeup, keeping her hands back, and drives it deep enough out to center field to give the Red Raiders the lead.
Strike 1 to Desiree Spearman. Brown was cruising. She had retired 5 in a row, including 2 quick outs in the 4th inning, but then hit Allred with the pitch. And then missed her spot against Panel, who made her pay. That is home run number 110 for Texas Tech as a team this season.
Ended up hitting Allred on that 2-2 pitch, too. So she's ahead in the count, just trying to work that rise ball a little bit too far inside, and then starts Taylor Panel with a first pitch changeup, thinking that she wasn't going to be expecting that pitch.
Spearman with the slow roller to short. Ulrich with the backhand, good strong throw. And that will do it for sports of Caitlin Terry from Glendale, Arizona. Pitched at Greenway High School in Phoenix. What were we told before the game? Maybe 20 to 25 friends and family. Yes. So Naja was on for starting, and then it's like, no, hang on a second. Let's bring in Caitlin Terry.
Her experience
she's been
here,
ready.
I was going to say, her experience here at Arizona
You
State,
went through
and we
numbers
talked
before.
about it, those 4 games back in 2024. I know that was a few years ago, but as an athlete, you don't remember stretches like that, especially
you
for
don't
a pitcher.
forget stretches like that.
Oh, yes. Thank you for correcting me. You've always got my back on those. That's what, you know what I meant. But thank you.
Did.
Yes. You never forget stretches like those.
Here's Kaylee Pond. Pond, by the way, is the only Sun Devil to start every game this year. Give me an idea of how the lineup has been in flux throughout the season for the Sun Devils. And she's been consistent all year, 346 with the 14 home runs.
8 doubles, too, to go along with those 14 home runs, 2 triples. 45 runs driven in for her this season. And we talked about it earlier, her having to step up in a couple of different roles, one of them being the leadoff batter, now back in that 2 spot where she can drive in some more runs for this team. Really seeing her, in my opinion, make improvements on that lower part of the zone.
Slow roller right side. Liss will take it herself, retire Pond. 1 down here in the bottom of the 4th for Arizona State. Well, here's the matchup. Just that one mistake by Brown, costly, the 2-run home run with 2 down in the top of the 4th to put Texas Tech on top 2-0. What has impressed you most about watching Caitlin Terry here today in person?
Really just the way that she's around the zone and how she moves the ball in different directions. And this at-bat, already a good example. We see a lot of those curveballs to the left-handed batter, so that's going to go away from those lefties. Well, now when she's facing the right-handed batter, she's going to bust out that screwball, so it's going to move in a completely opposite direction, moving away from the right-handed batters. Goes back to it again. That one actually looked like the drop ball. So now you've got movement on pitches moving in completely different directions and different sides of the plate. And you can also go up in the zone with the rise ball and that changeup. So her ability to really work all 4 quadrants.
1-2 the count to Samantha Swan. Nyjah Kennedy is down in the bullpen, so I would expect to see her maybe after this inning. We'll see, but she's ready to go for out number 2.
This is a great swing on a pitch that was way up and out of the zone, but Samantha Swan just goes up and gets this pitch. Look at the location. It's not even shoulder high. It's almost above her helmet. That's how high up in the zone this pitch is, and she hits it right on the money, but it just happens to go right to Holloman over in left field.
Samantha Swan is really tough to strike out. I think there was a smile on Terry's face because she threw her pitch way out of the zone, and Swan still made solid contact.
To most batters, that's probably a strikeout pitch, but to your point, Samantha Swan only has 10 strikeouts so far this season, only had 7 strikeouts all of last year. We got to talk to Coach Bartlett about it and why she's such a tough batter to strike out, and I think we just saw a prime example of that because you can practically toss it up into the stands and she's going to figure out a way to get good barrel on it.
1-1 the count to Emily Shep. Popped to second her first time. Just 1 base runner for Arizona State against Caitlin Terry. She hasn't given up a hit yet. 2-1. There's the first hit. Solid single by Shep down into the corner. It's going to be extra bases. And Shep's got a 2-out double. And Arizona State has their first hit.
Great adjustment on this swing by Emily Shep. She ends up getting a changeup here. It's a pitch that's low in the zone. And watch the way that she goes down and gets it. She doesn't just throw her barrel at it, but she actually sinks into the front side, uses her legs, uses her lower body, and that's how you're able to get a little bit more juice behind that line drive out to left field. It's a really good swing and a bit of momentum now that's over in that Arizona State dugout after it had really been all Texas Tech.
Think about a couple hard hit balls, the line out to left off the bat of Swan, and now the double off the bat of Shep.
It is crazy how sometimes even a play or a ball that's put in play that goes down as an out can give you so much momentum in the dugout.
Tara Archibald out to talk to Caitlin Terry.
Plus, you know I love a good hack at a rise ball, and Samantha Swan did it perfectly.
Just 48 pitches so far for Terry as she works here in the fourth. 2 base runners, walk to Avila, and the double to Shep. And here is Katie Chester, struck out her first time. Can't get it. Strike one. Tried to check and did. Correction, did not. 0-2 the count. The count now to Chester. Terry comes back to get the strikeout to retire the side. Pumped up as well. First hit for Arizona State, but still 2-0 Texas Tech after 4. Impressive here so far with Terry giving up just the 1 hit, Panel with the 2-run home run. As we move to the top half of the 5th here in Tempe. Logan Holloman will hit for Nyjah Kennedy. She ran for Kennedy back in the 3rd, stayed of the game and played left field. Nyjah's made her way from the bullpen to the dugout. I would not be surprised if we saw her come out for the bottom half of the 5th inning to take on Arizona State.
I also would not be surprised if we saw Caitlin Terry roll back out there
Yes.
in the circle. We are ready for whoever Coach Glasgow throws out there.
Nothing would surprise me when it comes to filling out a scorecard when it comes to a Jerry Glasgow team.
I messed mine up before the game even started.
So first plate appearance for Holloman. She faces Kenzie Brown here in the 5th. 1-2. Two and two now to Holloman. You know, when you get to late April, 24th of April, as I mentioned, this is when Maddie Shipman really earns her money, when she gets into the alphabet soup of NCAA tournament projections. Slow slapper to the shortstop, Ulrich. It's not going to be in time. Holloman beats it out. Infield single to get things started here in the 5th for Texas Tech. I think RPI is the #1 3-letter combo that a lot of people look at when it comes to determining NCAA tournament field. Of course, it's just a part of it. But the interesting thing, Texas Tech is 15th. They dropped down from 12th after a doubleheader sweep against UTEP this week.
Yeah, and you know I feel pretty strongly about this. I just don't feel like a team should be punished for winning ball games. That's just the way that I feel about it.
Single through the left side by the #9 hitter, Haley Toney, and Tech's got something cooking here. Nobody out in the 5th.
I also can very confidently say that I am glad that I am not on the selection committee and I just get to sit back and talk about all the selections. Yes. But I am glad that there are some other metrics too that the selection committee can use to kind of come to those decisions, DSR and KPI to go along with the RPI, so you're not just looking at that one numerical factor. With RPI, it's your record, of course, your wins and losses, and your strength of schedule and your opponent's strength of schedule. When you look at KPI and DSR, they're going to factor in a couple of different things. I know DSR kind of takes into account the game location and the margin of victory, stuff like that. So there's just a little bit more that goes into those rankings than just strictly your wins and losses, strength of schedule, and opponent's strength of schedule.
So just based on RPI, you see 15. That's a team that is just on the edge of hosting the NCAA tournament. Davis takes a strike and it's 0-2. But you looked at those other factors, and Texas Tech is in a little bit better position than that 15 spot in the RPI would indicate.
Yeah, just a little bit higher when you look at, or quite a bit higher when you look at the DSR, currently sitting at 9th. Texas Tech is at DSR, and they're close to the same spot in KPI.
Slapped out and just foul down the left field line off the bat of Davis.
And again, these are just more resources that the selection committee can use to try to come up with those decisions when it comes time to Selection Sunday and who's going to be placed where and who's going to be in the top 16, who's going to be hosting, because that's the goal for all these teams across the country. They want to be in that top 16 so that they are staying at home for as long as they possibly can during the postseason.
Which Texas Tech did for a first time last year, hosting a regional. Won a super for the first time to earn a trip to Oklahoma City for a first time. And Nigeri Kennedy was in the middle of it all. National Pitcher of the Year for a second time. 34 wins in the circle in 2025. Another 0-2 to Davis. Swung on and missed, and Brown gets the strikeouts. One away.
Nice job by Kenzie Brown here going up against Maya Davis, who we talked about earlier has really gone to swinging away this season. The last two at-bats against Kenzie Brown, she's gone to the slap. This time, Kenzie Brown brings in that drop ball, so the down movement to complement the rise ball at the top of the zone, and she gets Maya Davis swinging.
Here is Terry trying to help herself. Pulls the bat back. Runners going on the delayed steal. Safe at third is the call. We'll see if Shep was actually Ulrich on the cover. Looks to the dugout for a review. Will not. So double steal for Texas Tech, second and third with one out.
It's a really nice play by Ulrich. See how she notices the runner over at second base taking off, and she goes over to cover it. Actually has to slide to try to apply that tag. It's all about the timing. When do you get the ball? When can you apply that tag? And she is just a fraction late applying that tag over at third base.
You saw a little stutter by Holloman off the bag at second, but she's got great speed.
Great speed. We saw her beat out that what looked like was going to be a routine out over at shortstop just to get on base. So elite level speed. And even with that hesitation, able to dive in safely over at third.
Terry slaps it foul. It's 1-2.
Really tough play, though, for Ulrich. Like I mentioned, as a shortstop, you have to have your eyes watching the batter, of course, because you have to see if that ball's going to be put in play, especially with Caitlin Terry, who also has elite speed running down the baseline. But you also have to kind of keep an eye on that runner over at second base. Are they going to take off? So as soon as you see that ball pass the bat up at the plate, you immediately are heading over to third base to try to cover the steal.
Terry can't get it. Brown's got the strikeout. 2 down.
Huge back-to-back strikeouts for Kenzie Brown against the top of this Texas Tech order. Let's watch the way that she just moves these pitches all around the zone. Gets that strike on a pitch on the inner half. It's a low rise, comes back with the drop ball down and inside, then works away from Caitlin Terry. Tries to get her to expand out of the zone and gets her to do that. And the 6th strikeout now on the evening for Kenzie Brown.
206 on the season for Brown. Mia Williams fouls it off for strike 1. Williams 0 for 2 today. Williams looking to bunt with runners on second and third and 2 down.
Expect the unexpected. I almost feel like that should be a slogan to go along with the Texas Tech Red Raiders. We saw that last year at the Women's College World Series. Michaela Garcia stealing home against UCLA with Victoria Valdez.
Stealing home in the Women's World Series is the unexpected?
I would, I would put that on my unexpected list.
Unexpected bingo card. High fly ball, foul ground. I think it's going to reach the fans. It will. Almost an elite catch while holding on to the child. Those are my favorite, and I appreciate standing your ground, holding on. Daughter to Arizona State. Madison Shipman mentioned at the very top of the telecast, pitching would be the story, and that has been the case so far.
Pitching, and we've seen a home run tonight, and a home run on a first pitch changeup. So, you know, those types of things get me fired up. But this is a great matchup. This is a super regional feel matchup between these two teams. and both teams who want to be playing their best softball as we get here towards the end of the year. You don't want to be the team that looks back at February, looks back at early March and says that's when we were playing our best. You want to continue to grow and get better as you get deeper into April.
1-2 the count to Ashley Mejia, who flied out to left her first time, making her return to the lineup today after missing the Houston series. And it is Caitlin Terry still out there for Texas Tech in the circle. 2-2.
You said you might see Nigeri Kennedy coming out in the bottom of the 5th inning. I said don't be surprised if you see Caitlin Terry running back out there.
Nyjah is back in the bullpen. She had come down to the dugout last half inning. She is in the Texas Tech pen, ready to go if Terry should stumble, but we have seen no sign of that as she gets the strikeout. One down here in the home half of the 5th. Tomorrow on ESPN Plus, semifinals of the FA Cup take place at Wembley. Man City taking on Southampton. Coverage begins at noon Eastern Time. Terry starts strike one to Ulrich.
Just to show you how dominant both of these pitchers are, we've seen so many swings at pitches that are about a foot outside of the strike zone. Caitlin Terry has that rise ball jumping, and we heard Coach Megan Bartlett for Arizona State earlier say that it feels like she's pumping in 70 easily tonight. And also the way in which Caitlin Terry works with a very quick pace when she's out there in the circle, too. She doesn't leave the batters with a ton of time to try to rethink things in the batter's box because she's already bringing that next pitch in there.
With that in mind, it feels like Arizona State trying to slow things down here a little bit as Josh Bloomer, the third base coach, huddles up with his hitter. Brooklyn Ulrich struck out her first time. Down to the count 0-2. Well, for all the talk of Nigeri Kennedy, and rightly so, she came into this game 3rd in Division I in WHIP at .77. You know who's 8th in Division I? Caitlin Terry, .83. Walks and hits in innings pitched. Talk about a 1-2 punch in the circle for Texas Tech.
Not to mention Samantha Lincoln, too, who has thrown over 50 innings for this team this year.
Tiles up another strikeout. 3 in a row for Terry, 2 down.
6th strikeout now for Caitlin Terry. Again, working this pitch on the outer half of the zone, so when she gets you earlier in the at-bat, swinging and expanding at the rise balls out of the zone, then she brings in the curveball. That's the pitch that's going to stay a little bit more in the strike zone, and just that late break gets another swing and miss.
Avila fouls it off for strike one. One to one. Terry threw 3 innings in the UTEP doubleheader on Wednesday. Didn't give up a hit, struck out 7. Looking for her 7th strikeout here tonight against Arizona State. Ground ball, gloved by the shortstop. Tony with the throw. It's a 1-2-3 inning for Caitlin Terry, who got a couple of strikeouts, and she got some help behind her in the 6th. See if they can keep that momentum going tomorrow night. Top of the 6th here in Tempe. Eric Freed, Madison Shipman, and our crew will be back with you tomorrow afternoon, 5 o'clock Eastern time for Game 2 of the series between Texas Tech and Arizona State. I'd like to predict that Nigeri Kennedy would be the starting pitcher tomorrow, but I have learned not to do that after she was originally listed as the starter today. And Jerry Glasgow, he had said in the pregame, I may make a last-minute decision and start Caitlin Terry. He did, and she has been outstanding, giving up just the 1 hit.
And we've had our eyes on Nigeri too this entire game, kind of watching her go back and forth from being down in the bullpen, come back into the dugout, and go back down to the bullpen. She's done that a couple of times.
She's making the move back to the dugout, or getting ready to here again. She's getting her steps in, that's for sure.
I can say that I will not be filling out anything on my scorecard prior to.
Well, two things. One, leaving it blank is always a good way to work. And two, can I offer you a few of my pencils?
I do have a pencil. It was the highlighter that got me today. I highlighted
No erasing
prematurely.
a highlighter.
Yes, yes.
Just one hit given up by Terry. Kenzie Brown has given up 4 hits to Texas Tech, team that came in hitting .397 on the season, good for second in the country. So Brown's done her part. 2-run home run by Panel, the difference in this game. Panel due up third here in the 6th for Texas Tech. 3-1 to count to Jackie Liss. Full count. Kenzie Brown got into trouble last inning, gave up an infield hit to Holloman. Tony followed with a single. Double steal had runners on second and third with nobody out. And then Brown went to work. 3-2 here for Liss. Swung on and missed. That's 4 straight strikeouts for Kenzie Brown. That 5th inning, 3 in a row with runners on second and third. Big spot for Brown.
You're going to see this strikeout package just continue to rack up for Kenzie Brown. Started off the game throwing a lot of those rise balls, getting the swings and misses on the rise ball. As this game has gone on, you're seeing her start to use that drop ball more and more. Drop ball on the strikeout to Maya Davis, drop ball on the strikeout to Mia Williams, and Jackie Liss striking out on a drop ball to start off this top of the 6th inning. Now 8 strikeouts on the day for Kenzie Brown,
including 4 in a row as she works to Allred. Hit by a pitch with 2 outs back in the 4th, and then she scored on Panel's 2-run shot. 0-2.
There's that drop ball again that you're seeing out of the hand of Kenzie Brown, and the way that Lauren Allred swung over top of it too out of the hand, she's getting the feeling that that pitch is going to be a rise ball moving up in the zone, and instead at the last minute just drops right off of the table.
Up and in for ball 1, 1-2.
Oftentimes I feel like we hear the term tunneling when it comes to different pitches. You want your pitches to look the same as all your other pitches as long as possible on their way to the batter, and that's exactly what we're seeing from both Caitlin Terry and from Kenzie Brown tonight.
Swung on and missed. 5 straight strikeouts for Kenzie Brown. 2 down in the 6th.
I feel like too, Eric, the pace in which Kenzie Brown is pitching is picking up a little bit too as this game is going on, not taking as much time in between pitches. And there's that drop ball again. Now her last 3 strikeouts have all come on that drop ball. That one wasn't hit quite as hard as the home run out to center field, but Eric, it looks like a line drive in the books. This is a pitch that she gets off of the end of the bat, and it drops right in front of Avila out there in right field, and great heads-up base running, too, by Taylor Panel. She sees this one in front of her the entire time as she's rounding first base and does not hesitate and makes it in safely into second.
Panel has 2 of the 5 hits for Texas Tech tonight. Much like Panel did in the 4th, Maddie, it comes with 2 outs off the bat of Spearman.
How about the heater that Desiree Spearman has been on this week, too? Had a couple of home runs in their midweek doubleheader against UTEP, and now she's carried over that momentum here into this Game 1 series against Arizona State, against one of the toughest pitchers in the country. What a swing by Desiree Spearman. So much power top to bottom in this Texas Tech offense.
I mean, for Kenzie Brown, Madison, she hits Allred with a pitch with 2 outs. Panel then hits the 2-run home run. It is a bloop double off the bat of Panel with 2 outs after Brown had struck out 5 straight, and then Spearman leaves no doubt with the shot to center field. And here is Kennedy re-entering to bat for a 2nd time tonight. Take strike 1.
Now, we actually talked about this mentality with Coach Megan Bartlett before the game about how, as an offense, when you come into a game knowing that you're facing pitchers that are going to rack up the strikeouts, you can't be discouraged by the strikeout number. You still have to be aggressive. You still have to have that attack mentality. And you're seeing that from Texas Tech. Yes, they're striking out. They're swinging at pitches outside of the zone, but they are taking chances. They're taking those chances so that when they get that one shot, that one pitch that doesn't necessarily move as much as the others, they are ready for it and they are ready to do damage.
Activity in the Arizona State bullpen. 1-2 the count to Kennedy, who walked in the third. Holloman came on to run, and Holloman stayed in the game. Went out to play left field. So with Kennedy re-entering here, does that mean we get to see her pitch in the sixth? I've predicted it a couple times now, and I've been wrong.
I believe so.
1-2. 2-2.
Because with the initial lineup, it was Victoria Valdez who's back there catching that was listed in the 10 spot, listed in the flex.
Yes.
So I'm with you. I'm predicting that we're going to see Nyjari Kennedy come out.
Well,
in the
if you
bottom of the
predict it,
sixth.
I know it's gonna happen. If I predict it, all bets are off. Brown's 101st pitch of the night results in strikeout number 10. So he would likely come in and pitch. Wrong.
I'm 1 for 2, so I'm almost batting.
You're a Hall of Famer.
I'm
1 for 2.
almost batting Caitlin Terry's batting average for the season tonight.
In the Hall of Fame, 1 for 3, let alone 1 for 2. So Terry, it's her game now because Kennedy is out of the game as Michaela Garcia has come on, and here's a solid single to left from the number 9 hitter, starting things off for Arizona State. Tiade Ho-Ching is aboard to get things started for the Sun Devils here, down by 4 in the 6th.
It does never fail, though, in the game of softball. When you do enter the game defensively, the ball finds you, and Michaela Garcia just put out into left field. First ball off of the bat goes straight to her.
Top of the order, here's Wendell. Blooped out towards the right side. Drifting back is Liss. She'll put it away. Quiet night for Wendell at the plate. 0 for 3. 1 down. Kaylee Pond is 0 for 2. Struck out in the first. Grounded out to first in the 4th. Takes ball 1. Terry's been very efficient. Just 69 pitches on the night now for the lefty as she works here in the 6th. One to 1.
What she's been doing, too, with these lefties as the game goes on, we talked a lot about that curveball and the way that it breaks away from the left-handed batters. Against Tanya Wendell, you saw her work the pitch on the inside part of the plate. Got her jammed up for that fly ball over to the right side of the infield. And why she's doing that is because now the lefties are thinking about that outside pitch. They're trying to let the ball travel. So what do you do as a pitcher? You throw against that, you throw inside, and you get them to be late and jammed up on those inside pitches.
2-2 to Pond. 24th appearance on the season for Terry. If she goes the distance tonight, that will bring her up to 100 innings pitched on the button for the season. Elite at the plate, elite in the circle. Gets the strikeout. 2 down. A reminder, coming up on Sunday, NWSL, Angel City and Portland in Los Angeles. Coverage begins Sunday, 6 Eastern time. You can also catch it on ESPN Deportes and also on the ESPN app. 7 strikeouts now for Caitlin Terry. Saw a 2-way player for Arizona last year. Devin Netz take Player of the Year honors in the Big 12. I would say there is your front runner for Player of the Year honors in the Big 12 this year.
When you look at those conference honors, too, you're just looking at the conference stats. Caitlin Terry batting .520 in Big 12 play coming into this series this weekend against Arizona State with a 1.95 ERA.
Line shot to center. A couple of hard hit balls by Swan. But it looks like her 14-game hitting streak may go by the boards unless there's a comeback for Arizona State as we go along. We've played 4-0 Texas Tech.
Had a ton of home run power coming into this weekend. 106 home runs now, which is good for 4th in the country.
Oklahoma, by the way, 4 home runs in their 10-2 win over Georgia earlier tonight to extend their mark atop D1 softball. Aisa Silva, senior from Tucson, in the circle now for Arizona State.
Aisa Silva coming into the game, going to throw in the mid-60s, so just a little bit lower velocity than what we saw from Kenzie Brown. Likes to work arm side with that rise ball and that screwball. Going to move away from those right-handed batters, but also has the curveball, drop ball, changeup to move in different directions.
Haley Toney slices it foul. Good grab up by the fan, just on the other side of the fence.
I will say, I got to give a shout out to a couple of the fans. We saw the dad with the daughter almost make the great catch. Nice catch down the left field line there. And there was another great grab at the beginning of our ball game up here to our left, up in the stands.
There's a dad, daughter's in someone else's arm. We saw another young one in the arms of someone. So that's prime territory for trying to catch foul ball while holding on to your child, it would appear.
Hope the fans know now that we're putting them down in our scorebooks as great plays, stars by those plays.
That is the "it's getting close to bedtime" rock down there, by the way. Bounced up there for a ball. 3-2 now the count to Haley Toney. Haley sacrificed into 3rd, singled into 5th. One of 6 hits for Texas Tech against Kenzie Brown. And Toney's aboard with the leadoff walk. 6 hits, 4 runs earned, 2 walks, 10 strikeouts through 100 pitches, 68 for strikes. Maya Davis was 0 for 2 with a walk against Brown tonight. Davis with the bunt. It's foul for strike 1.
Kenzie Brown threw really well tonight against Texas Tech, and the most impressive inning to me was back in that top of the 5th inning where Holloman and Haley Toney had gotten on base, and then she ended up striking out 3 batters in a row, and it was the top of this Texas Tech order, starting with Maya Davis, Caitlin Terry, and then Mia Williams to get them out of the jam, keep them in this ball game.
Davis fouls it off, down in the count 0-2. Maya with 326 career hits. That is number 1 on the active list in Division I. First team all-conference last year in her first year in the conference after transferring over from Louisiana. One hop to the shortstop. Throwing on to first is Ulrich. 1 down, Toney on the second. Look who's coming to the plate. Caitlin Terry pitching a shutout. She's been shut out at the plate so far, 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts. You see her pitching line. That's popped up on the infield. Third baseman Shep takes control and puts it away. 2 down.
Both of her strikeouts tonight against Kenzie Brown came off of that rise ball. And this is all about sharing your scouting report. When a new pitcher comes into the ball game, what have you been successful with? So Aisa Silva goes back with that rise ball up in the zone, gets Caitlin Terry to chase for a fly ball out for out number 2.
Williams swings at the first pitch, pops it up back behind the plate, and out of play. So close. We've been so close to some great catches today.
There's a high standard of excellence among the fans here.
Should be.
Great crowd tonight as well.
2051, the attendance, second highest crowd of the season for Arizona State here at Farrington Stadium. Behind the 2373 that came here to watch Oklahoma take on the Sun Devils. 0-2. Foul. I would lay off of trying to catch that one. Just pro tip.
Sometimes instincts just take over, Eric, and you go for it. You might regret it later if it hits your hand, but not as much if you make the catch.
Certainly true. Foul balls back to the booth that are heading towards you that I step in front of to catch. You knew that was coming.
I did. I sure did.
0-2. Popped up, foul ground. Going to be close. Long run, and Chester and Ho Ching couldn't get there. But Williams still working at the plate.
A tough battle by Mia Williams, just fouling off pitch after pitch until she could get something that she could get solid barrel on. This time it's a curveball working over the head of Kaylee Pond out there in center field, throwing it into second base. And with that head first slide makes all the difference. That's how Mia Williams able to get in there safely for the 2-out double.
Ball one to Jackie Liss. Liss doubled in the second for Texas Tech's first hit. 7 hits now for the Red Raiders. One to one. Four, 5, and 6 for Arizona State in the bottom of the 7th. Shep, Chester, and Mejia due up, as Terry will try to put away the shutout. It's a 6-0 lead for the Red Raiders.
Really nice swing by Jackie Liss. Again, goes up and gets this pitch. It's a rise ball moving up and away from her barrel. So not an easy pitch to get to, but she lets it travel, drives it down that right field line, and it's another 2-out hit for this Red Raiders offense to bring in some more insurance runs. With that last hit, pitching coach Josh Bartfeld is going to be on his way out there to the circle to have a chat with Naisa Silva. Got to do whatever you can to just try to keep the score where it is and give your team a chance to come back in the bottom of the 7th inning.
Looks like Vic Valdez will get a chance to swing the bat for Texas Tech. Hitting an all-red spot. All-red 0 for 2. Was hit by a pitch and scored on the panel home run. Liss at first with 2 down. And 2 runs in for Texas Tech. 2 in the 4th, 2 in the 6th, and 2 in the 7th. Took a while for the Red Raiders to break through, but they finally did with Panel's 2-out, 2-run home run. Spearman followed with a 2-out, 2-run home run in the 6th. Valdez off the glove of the third baseman, Shep. Valdez thrown out at first. Arizona State stuck with it defensively and got the catcher to close things out in the top half of the 7th. Some insurance.
I believe you.
Unbelievable. Yeah,
a ton of people. Looks like a great atmosphere.
Bottom of the 7th. Here in Tempe, game 1 of this 3-game series. Shep to lead things off. 1 for 2 against Caitlin Terry today, and Terry starts her off with strike 1. Just 77 pitches thrown by Caitlin Terry.
That double that Shep hit back in the bottom of the 4th inning against Caitlin Terry was off of a changeup. Ended up getting down and going after it, driving it down the left field line. Caitlin Terry has had a phenomenal night against the Sun Devils tonight.
Jerry Glasgow said it was imperative to pick up an elite pitcher to complement Nigel Kennedy.
And I think that's one of the things that's been most impressive to me about watching Caitlin Terry this year is, prior to this season, really thought of her as a pitcher and what she was going to bring to this team in the pitcher circle. But what she's been able to provide offensively too, and the consistency in which she's been able to do it, and almost kind of revamping her game to be a power hitter along with still being dominant in the circle. I continue to watch and just be amazed by the presence that she has, the confidence that she has, and the numbers that she's putting up this year.
Didn't see her best at the plate tonight. 0 for 4, came into the game 520, 5th in Division I in hitting, but I think we've seen her best in the circle here today playing against Arizona State. And you talked about it before as a freshman pitching for UCLA. Pitched 3 complete games, picking up 3 wins here for the Bruins.
And then went on to face Arizona State in the Pac-12 tournament, went and got the complete game shutout, just gave up 1 hit in that game. Then she started the next game in the Pac-12 tournament, only threw 3 innings in that game. But just goes to show you the type of competitor that she is out there.
Hard grounder to the shortstop. Tony's got it. Shep is retired. A 1 down here in the 7th.
We've seen Caitlin Terry moving her pitches all throughout the zone, and that's why she's been able to get up to 7 strikeouts today, really working that lefty-lefty matchup against all the lefties in this Arizona State offense, working the curveballs, working the rise balls, and then she's able to drop in a changeup here or two just to keep it in the back of these hitters' minds so that they have to respect that pitch, and she's been throwing it more consistently for strikes too recently, which helps add to that pitch arsenal that she brings to each and every game.
Chester down the count, 0-1. 0 for 2, couple of strikeouts against Terry. And she's down the count, 0-2. Caitlin Terry trying to improve to 19-1 on the season.
When I look at this game and look at just the pitching matchup that we saw and what the offenses were able to do against the pitching, the difference in my mind is looking at the at-bats that follow when Texas Tech was able to get a runner on, all of a sudden, boom, 2-run shot. When you look at Arizona State, the times that they got a runner on base, it's followed up by a strikeout, it's followed up by a ground out. Just never felt like Arizona State could get any offensive momentum going against Texas Tech, and a lot of that credit to the way that Caitlin Terry pitched and the way that she commanded the zone.
Grounded to the shortstop again. It's Tony on the first. 2 down here in the 7th. Well, maybe this is a time for Arizona State to flip the script. They won their first Big 12 series against Oklahoma State, took 2 out of 3. Then they lost their next 3 series in the Big 12 after winning the opener in each of those 3 series. So in Tempe.
What a game between these two teams. We knew that it was going to have that super regional feel to it, and that's exactly